Hello everybody and welcome back to the Flatline Trades YouTube channel. So today we're just looking at an example of how to frame an entry when we see a candle 2 closure with a 2-stage. So if we see from here, for example, we have this fair value gap. None of these candles close as a candle 2 and then this one does. So this would be at a key level and this would be the time that we want to see it happen also, and we form an SMT and a PSP, for example. So we have a 2-stage. So once this candle closes, we want to look at getting involved in candle 3 to expand to the external, because this is external to internal key level, and then we move higher. So we would essentially want to position ourselves in candle 3, because this is candle 2 as it's closed as a candle 2 with the 2-stage. So obviously this is an example. So the other asset would have not swept this candle's low, for example, and then closed bearish. So we would have here the 2-stage, and then we just want to get involved at the candle 3. So essentially something very important that a lot of traders overlook, because when we see a candle 2 form with an SMT and a PSP, we tend to think that this is the perfect scenario, and it would be in an ideal case, but we do need to see candle 3 respect 50% of the previous candle's level. So from wick to wick, and if there's a really large body with hardly any wicks, then it would be the same wick to wick, and we would want to see it respect 50% of that level, which would be this line here. So this is something very important. The moment that we form the bottom wick, we want to see the bottom wick form. We don't want to see it trade way below the 50%. If anything, tap it or slightly below, but even better if we hardly retrace into that 50% and then start moving higher. So this is something very important that can make you avoid a lot of losses, because let's say, for example, if price comes in and we go below the 50% level, say down here, and then we form a little break of structure on the 3 minutes, but we're still, on the lower time frame, it's done it, but we would take an entry and then we can see price just come down and would stop us out. So we do want to see that break of structure form before we hit that 0.5% level, that 50% level, or just tap it and then start to form that break of structure. So I'm just going to show you what this would look like on a lower time frame too. So now on the lower time frame, let's say we drop down to the 3 minute when this happens and we're anticipating an entry, we're excited for an entry. We want to see the previous candle's 50% get respected. So this candle here is the new candle open. So this little black one is when the candle closed as a candle 2 on the higher time frame, and then this bullish candle is the new one that opened on that next candle on the higher time frame. It formed its bottom wick and then it started to trade higher. We formed a break of structure here. We also broke above this previous candle's level. So this is valid for an entry. The ideal scenario is that the other correlated asset, which we've spoken about in all the lessons, the other correlated asset would also form an SMT. So as this candle just started moving higher, because it's the leading asset, the other asset, which would be the middle or the lagging, would actually trade lower into this fair value gap and then start moving higher as well, possibly leaving a wick, and then the body respecting, closing above, but the wick would be some sort of inside this fair value gap, and then we start moving higher. Then we could take an entry, and as you can see, we do get that push because we've had the 2-stage and then the perfect closure, and then we've waited for the candle wick to form respecting 50%, and then we start moving higher, and we can confidently trail the move, or we could even go at break even when we hit the 2R, and we can see that it continues to go higher because there's draws way above to hit. Okay, and so this lesson is just about keeping in mind that the 50% level should be respected. If we see price open and then start to trade lower, and essentially even disrespect this fair value gap, I know that on the previous higher time frame we had everything aligned, but the trade would more or less be invalid, and it wouldn't be as high probability as it is if we respect the 50%. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Like I always say, if you want to avoid losses and keep everything more high probability for your trading journey. So yeah, thank you for watching.